You've spent decades chasing, proving, performing. You gave your time, your energy, your peace often for less than you deserved. And now, standing on the other side of 50, you're being told you still need to play the same game. Find someone. Settle down. Make her happy so you can finally be happy. But what if everything you've been told is a trap? What if the very thing society insists you need is the one thing, keeping you from the deepest peace you've ever known? This video is not for the man who fears solitude. It's for the man who has learned that peace is not found in another person's presence. It's found in the absence of chaos. Here are 5 reasons, grounded in Stoic wisdom, why choosing yourself over a relationship after 50 may be the most powerful decision you ever make. Reason 1, peace becomes non-negotiable. By the time you reach 50, you have earned something no amount of money can buy: clarity. You know what disrupts your sleep. You know which conversations drain you. You know the difference between being alone and being lonely. And you have learned often the hard way that your nervous system remembers every fight, every silent treatment, every moment you walked on eggshells, just to keep the peace that was never really yours. A relationship after 50 is not what it was at 25. At 25, you had energy to rebuild. At 50, you have scars that remind you why rebuilding became necessary. The Stoics understood this. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But he also knew that once you have tasted true stillness, you do not trade it lightly. A woman entering your life at this stage brings her history, her expectations, her wounds, her needs. And whether she intends to or not, she will ask you to make space for all of it. The question is not whether she is worth it. The question is whether you are willing to give up the silence you fought decades to secure. For many men, the answer is no. And that is not weakness. That is wisdom. Reason 2, your mission no longer includes validation. There is a certain freedom that arrives when you stop needing to be chosen. Most men spend their youth performing. They dress for the gaze. They earn for the approval. They build for the applause of people who would not recognize their sacrifice. But after 50, something shifts. The hunger for external validation begins to starve, and in its place grows something far more valuable: the ability to pursue what actually matters to you without asking permission. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." But there is a deeper layer, he implies. What matters most is what you choose to react to it all. A relationship demands your attention. It demands your emotional bandwidth. It demands that you care about someone else's moods, schedules, and needs as much as your own. If you are still building something, a business, a legacy, a craft, that demand becomes a tax you may no longer be willing to pay. The man who no longer needs validation does not need a partner to confirm his worth. He confirms it himself, every morning, in the work he does when no one is watching. That is a freedom most men never taste, and once tasted, it is not easily surrendered. Reason 3, emotional labor has a cost you can no longer ignore. There is a term that modern psychology has given us that the Stoics would have recognized instantly: emotional labor. It is the work of managing someone else's feelings, of calming their anxieties, of navigating their moods, of being the steady one while they process their storms. In your 20s and 30s, you may have had the stamina for this. In your 40s, you may have told yourself it was worth it. But after 50, you begin to notice something. The cost is not just time. It is not just energy. It is a slow erosion of the self. Seneca warned against allowing others to become the masters of your emotional state. He knew that the man who ties his peace to another person's moods has handed over the keys to his own fortress. A relationship after 50 is not inherently wrong, but it requires you to ask a question most men avoid. Am I willing to carry the weight of another person's emotional world on top of my own? For many, the answer is no. Not because they are selfish, because they have finally learned that their peace is not a luxury, it is a necessity. And necessity, as the Stoics knew, is the mother of clear decision-making. Reason 4, your time has become irreplaceable. When you are young, time feels infinite. You waste it on arguments that do not matter. You spend it on people who do not deserve it. You trade it for experiences that vanish the moment they end. But after 50, time reveals its true nature. It is the only resource you cannot earn back. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not morbid. This is clarifying. Every hour you spend in a relationship that drains you is an hour you do not spend on the work that defines you. Every conversation you have about things that do not matter is a conversation you do not have with yourself. Every compromise you make to keep someone else comfortable is a piece of your own life you have given away. The Stoic does not fear solitude. He fears wasting his remaining years on arrangements that do not serve his highest self. If a relationship after 50 adds to your life, truly adds, then it may be worth the investment. But if it subtracts, if it demands more than it gives, if it asks you to shrink so someone else can feel large, then walking away is not failure. It is the most disciplined decision you will ever make. Reason 5. You have become the prize and you know it. Here is the truth most men never reach. By the time you are 50, if you have done the work, you are the prize. Not because of arrogance, because of earned self-respect. You have built, you have failed, you have rebuilt. You have learned what matters and what does not. You have developed patience, perspective, and the ability to sit with discomfort without needing someone to rescue you. And now women sense this. They are drawn to it. They want to be near it. But here's the danger. They will want to take it, not out of malice, out of instinct. Because being near a man who has his life together makes them feel safe. And safety for women often translates into wanting to possess the source of that safety. The Stoic knows the difference between being wanted and being used, between being appreciated and being harvested. When you understand your own value, you stop giving it away for the price of someone's attention. You become selective, not because you are bitter, because you have learned that your peace, your time, your energy, and your focus are not commodities to be traded for companionship. You are complete without a relationship, and that completeness is precisely what makes you dangerous to those who would try to destabilize you. Conclusion. 5 reasons. Not to convince you to be alone. To remind you that solitude and loneliness are not the same thing. Seneca wrote, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. Do not spend the years you have left waiting for someone to complete you. You are already complete. Do not trade the peace you have earned for the chaos you escaped. You earned it for a reason. And do not let anyone convince you that your value is measured by your willingness to sacrifice your stillness for their approval." The Stoic path is not about rejecting connection. It is about refusing to let connection become the center of your existence. You are the center. Your purpose is the center. Your peace is the center. If someone joins you there, they must add to it, not subtract from it. That is the standard. And after 50, you have earned the right to hold it. If this message resonated with you, like this video. Subscribe to join men who choose strength, purpose, and inner peace over the chaos of chasing what they no longer need. Your journey continues now. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.